Hörrni, precis som tidigare så kommer TV4 också kommande säsong att visa från alla, det vill säga samtliga Formel 1-lopp. Och här ska vi nu närmast få en liten föraning om vad som komma skall och en och annan återblick, kan jag tänka mig.
Formel 1 presenteras av Shell Helix.
The 1997 Formula One World Championship had everything. Breathtaking action, intense competition, more than a little controversy, and at the end of it all, a new world champion. The French-Canadian Jacques Villeneuve of Williams-Renault. Two years ago, when he joined Williams, he was simply the son of Gilles Villeneuve. Now, he's a superstar. In December, at a glittering ceremony in Monte Carlo, he received his trophy for winning the title. And Williams, the Constructors' Championship, for a record 9th time. 26 years old, 11 wins in 33 Grand Prix, and now the champion.
I'm a racing driver. I want to go faster every year.
Even through winter, Formula One never stands still. The demands on cars, drivers and teams increase year by year. Winning is the ultimate aim, speed is of the essence, but other considerations are vital. Safety is paramount, and rule changes this year should make the championship more compelling than ever. Changes too, even at Williams. The engines no longer come direct from Renault, but through their associate company Mechachrome. Will technical development be restricted? A new livery on the Williams, a different sponsor's name emblazoned on the bodywork. Can Williams do it again? Well, the driver lineup is the same as in 1997. Villeneuve and Heinz-Harald Frentzen, and the tyres are still Goodyear's.
We did have the opportunity, and were given the opportunity by Goodyear to make a change, but we decided that we wanted to honour the contract that we had till the end of '98, and we've been assured by them that they're going to give it 100%.
But are they the winning tyres for this season?
I know only that Goodyear is pushing very hard at the moment. We are doing a lot of tyre testing since last year, and the guys are really working hard.
Frentzen in his second season at Williams. Last year he was expected to win more than just one Grand Prix.
I've got now my second chance. I know the team now, I know my chances, and I'm going for it.
As defending champion, all eyes will be on Villeneuve. Last year he had the best car in the field, but in 1998...
we know how fast the car can go. And now it's new for everyone, so it's much easier to progress. But also because the human limit now is easier to reach, where before it was difficult to reach the limit of the car, so it was difficult to make improvements.
With 5 constructors' titles in the last 6 years, Williams' pedigree is top class, and the future's in good hands as well, with test drivers Juan Pablo Montoya from Colombia and Brazilian Max Wilson.
Maybe I start in March with Formula 1, but I don't have the program yet.
Test driving may not be as glamorous as racing, but it's still a very important role.
And I got the job, and we're here, and I hope I can do the best for the team and for myself.
And during winter testing, the Williams FW19 has run impressively. Frentzen particularly quick initially. But Villeneuve's also satisfied with progress.
If you listen to every team and to every engine before every season, they all have the best thing, but there's only one that wins in the end.
At Ferrari, Eddie Irvine continues as number 2 to former world champion Michael Schumacher. Irvine appears happy with his lot at Maranello, insisting that in any case he's better on snow than Schumacher. At the team's annual ski event at Madonna di Campiglio, it wasn't long before engines were brought into play. And contrary to what Eddie thinks, Schumacher has improved his technique on skis. And then there was a chance to hone up on the technique for those race days on slippery surfaces. Michael's a master of that, of course, but ice is a different matter. And Eddie was number 1 here.
Everything happens very slowly, you know, and you slide so much, and it's fantastic.
They leave nothing to chance at Ferrari, even a Michael Schumacher wellness centre, a mobile gym equipped with everything required to keep their prize asset in top condition. Ferrari's winter testing in the new car hasn't been plain sailing. Problems which curtailed the sessions at Jerez, but reports from Maranello suggest that the team's getting to grips with the necessary changes.
Of course, it means a new car, a new gearbox, a new engine, a new type of tires, so it will be very challenging.
And a new aerodynamic centre at Maranello. The architect, the world-renowned Renzo Piano. It's all helped to develop the F300, which the central figures at Ferrari unveiled to great applause. Ferrari president Luca Di Montezemolo supports Eddie Irvine's view.
Last year the car was good at some circuits, but a lot of circuits it wasn't. I think this year's car is going to be good everywhere, and I'm really looking forward to going into a year in Formula 1 where I can challenge for victories at every race.
In unfamiliar black, the 98 Ferrari was one of the first on the test track.
We want to win the championship. I mean, that's our ambition. But want to do things and achieve things is 2 different stories, but we will do everything.
We now have a minimum external dimension of the front of the chassis, as well as a minimum internal dimension. So the front of the car looks much squarer. The track is obviously much narrower. You can see that the wheels have been brought in. That's apparent. The cockpit opening is probably not so clear. There's some changes there in the regulations, but that may not be so apparent. Obviously the groove tyres. And the crash structures are much... there's a much bigger crash structure on the side of the car to comply with the new side impact test.
Experienced test driver too in Luca Badoa.
The work of a test driver is far from the television, but is still very important because you have a bigger responsibility for the setup of the car and for the new solution.
Not quite what he's used to, but handled with similar skill. Schumacher's penalty for the controversial incident with Villeneuve at Jerez last season was to help with the FIA's road safety campaign. On the track, he knows his attitude will be under severe scrutiny. He's a role model for millions, especially the famous tifosi, the Ferrari fans who'll do anything for a mere glimpse of the scarlet cars they adore. Full time now at Benetton. Alexander Wurz. He had 3 Grand Prix in 1997 and a 3rd place at Silverstone. But Benetton think he's now ready to take over from his compatriot Gerhard Berger. And alongside him, the Italian Giancarlo Fisichella. 25 years old, he grew up fast at Jordan last season.
So first of all, please welcome David Richards.
David Richards took over the reins at Benetton from Flavio Briatore. He has to improve the record of only 1 win since Schumacher left in '95.
I think it's very, very positive.
The Benetton 198. Is this the winning package they've been searching for?
So, ladies and gentlemen, there it is, a car that is so distinctly a Benetton with a...
Wurz and Fisichella have undoubted potential. Team principal Alessandro Benetton is well aware of that. But it's a team in transition. Richards has taken the option to move from Goodyear tyres to Bridgestone for 98. Generally, that's seen as a good move, especially after some of the times the team achieved in testing during the close season. Nick Worth's design has been praised for its simplicity, especially the rear-end aerodynamics, a single exhaust and a double-profile rear wing.
you know, racing is all about winning, and that's what all the drivers, all the 22 drivers want to achieve. But it's very difficult. But of course, I would like to win.
But like Williams, the Renault engines for Benetton are being supplied by Mecachrome. And once again, the question mark is over development as the season progresses. The team is upbeat about its chances. Other cars may have more power, but we have the drivability, says technical director Pat Simmons. And with so many differences to this year's cars, that, coupled with reliability, could be the most important factor of all. It's time for McLaren to come again. 107 Grand Prix victories, 7 Constructors' titles, but the last back in 1991. 3 wins in 1997 gave them real hope for this year. They too have made the change to Bridgestone tyres, while David Coulthard and Mika Häkkinen are retained as drivers.
Well, I haven't said too much to anybody yet because it would be a little bit too early to comment too much. But they're a little bit different in certain areas. They're interesting tyres.
The McLaren MP413, a Mercedes engine which produced the power required but not the reliability during 1997. Adrian Newey, formerly of Williams, who designed the cars which won 4 drivers' titles, 5 Constructors' Championships and 59 Grand Prix in all, is responsible for this one.
Well, for this year, I hope very much that we're in a position to win more races than last year, so, you know, 3 or 4 would be very nice.
That's what we look in the consistency, win the Grand Prix and mainly to win the World Championship this year.
Among the detail differences, those Bridgestone tyres.
From the point of view of the tyres, I think that we've made a very good decision to move to Bridgestone. The tyre is an extremely stable tyre. It doesn't have the level of degradation that previous suppliers had, and that gives us a very good basis on which to develop the car.
But there were too many engine failures last season.
The engine is even a little bit more compact than last year's. It is stronger, it is lighter, and it's hopefully much more reliable.
Well, you have to have reliability, otherwise, you know, first you first have to finish. And so, obviously, reliability is critical in Grand Prix racing.
Plenty of expertise at McLaren, but their late appearance in winter testing perhaps indicates their best will be in the second half of the season. Damon Hill's at Jordan, where they're upbeat about 98.
Yeah, I'm very pleased actually. The car's gone together very well. I'm sure there'll be a few little bits and pieces appear here and there. It's, you know, it's a whole new product. There's a few novel ideas in it, and we've got to get working correctly, but that's what the test program's about. So the package is quite nice.
A change in the engine compartment, the Mugen Honda V10, compact, light, powerful, say Honda themselves. And Ralf Schumacher, comfortable with Damon Hill.
Damon is the guy for this season who's going to win the races and maybe as well going for a good place in championship.
Jordan have done much of their testing at the track immediately outside their own front door, Silverstone, and reliability has proved to be good. The Royal Albert Hall, another famous English setting for the launch of Jordan's Challenge. Inside, things weren't quite as traditional as the last night of the proms, but once the serious business began, there was a distinctly international flavour to it all. With the Irish boss, the Japanese engine manufacturer, the German driver, and the Englishness preserved by Hill, the former champion in one of his witty moods.
No, we don't have any number one drivers. We just have number one banana. This is number one banana. And number 2 banana.
But they can't afford slip-ups this year.
It's probably the best product we've built within a set of regulations. You know, last year's car was obviously built for 1997 regs and was a reasonably good tool. The 98 car is probably a better car within the changed regulations.
So could it be 98 for Jordan's first win? The French challenge comes from Prost Peugeot. The all-time great took over from Ligier in 1997 Last year, Alain Prost experienced the highs and the lows of Grand Prix racing. A second place at Barcelona for Olivier Panis, a dreadful crash a race later. Prost technical director is Bernard Dudot, formerly of Renault. No wonder they're portraying Prost as the French national team. There was certainly something very distinctly French about the launch. Although the Prost AP01 was quite attractive too. For Prost, Jarno Trulli and a fully fit Olivier Panis comprise the driver lineup.
I'm very confident because the Team Prost Grand Prix is very strong with Peugeot now to push the result coming very quickly as soon as.
Trulli drove 7 times for Prost last year.
It's difficult for the moment to speak about exactly the result, but you know, every time you think about the winning races, so we shall see what's going on.
The new car's the only one of the 98 crop that directs airflow to the base of the bodywork using aerodynamic structures on either side of the cockpit. Prost admits that finding the right personnel for his team in France is difficult. The people he requires are frequently not involved in motor racing, but he has managed to double his staff in the year since he took over. The 4 times world champion is confident of making progress.
But what is the most important is we know that the objective is to be in between the top teams as quick as possible, and the objective will be to try to be there this year already. Yeah.
And there's never any doubt at all that this is Prost's team. He's in charge, he makes the final decision. In testing, the AP01 experienced gearbox problems at Barcelona, but on its return to France and the team's base at Magny-Cours, the problem appeared to be solved. High expectations in France at least for Prost and Panis. In 1997, Sauber didn't make the progress they hoped for. Changes for 98 include the recruitment of Jean Alesi, ex-Tyrrell, Ferrari and Benetton, 135 Grand Prix. His 1 win is no reflection of his talent. Alesi believes he's still capable of winning more.
I'm optimistic normally, and then I believe I believe in the team. I'm sure we can do a good job, really. Even if the beginning will be really difficult for me because I have to understand everything, but then it will be okay.
Alesi accepted the Sauber drive on the advice of his great friend Gerhard Berger. And Peter Sauber is pleased that Alesi took the great Austrian's advice. Alongside Alesi, Johnny Herbert, the British driver, who ostensibly is the team's number 2, though he's actually won 2 Grand Prix to Alesi's single victory. Herbert only made it to the podium once in 1997 at Hungary when he was 3rd. With 248 Grand Prix starts between them, the Alesi-Herbert combination is the most experienced in Formula 1, and Sauber is one of only 3 teams with 2 drivers who've both won races. Invaluable experience. But the team has only 3 podium finishes to its credit in 81 Grand Prix, and doubling that in 98 would be a big achievement. Arrows have been a part of the Grand Prix scene since 1984, but since Tom Walkinshaw's takeover of operations in 1996, the team has been transformed. High hopes last year proved to be overstated. Now there's a new beginning, as they become the 2nd team currently in Formula 1 to be powered by their own engine.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Arrows F1 V10 engine.
So we decided that instead of wasting the money just renting engines from someone, we would invest it and build our own and hopefully get industry support for it.
The drivers, Mika Salo and Pedro Diniz.
The car is really good to drive. Seems very efficient, so I think it's realistic to say that we can finish in podiums.
Salo looked the part, even in the Tyrrell.
I was really happy when Tom wanted me to drive for him because I know his reputation in racing, and he's got John Barnard designing a car, so it was just everything what I wanted.
And it does look like a strong lineup all round, with the highly respected designer John Barnard having joined Walkinshaw in the early part of last season.
Well, I think we're a young team now. I think we're a young team that can build for the future, you know, and that's at every decision we've taken, we've sort of taken a 3-year view that we want stability so that we can actually grow on the foundation every year that we've laid the year before.
The Barnard-designed A19 has a low engine cover and repositioned radiators to ensure clean air reaches the rear wing. Is this the breakthrough for Arrows? Stewart's debut year in Formula One was every bit as tough as they expected. But with the Scottishness of the team proudly displayed at their 98 launch, they start year 2 with an air of optimism. The SF2, designed by Alan Jenkins, carries their hopes for another climb up the learning curve. The Ford Cosworth V10 wasn't reliable enough in 1997, and Jackie Stewart himself knows the difficulties ahead.
Historically, a second year is more even difficult than a first year because people expect too much of you in the second year. And there are no excuses, oh, well, this is their first year. You don't get off with that any longer.
The car looks similar to last year's model, though incorporating the rule changes. Jan Magnussen looks forward to his second full season in Formula One.
I really have a good feeling. They've gone right to the limits regarding technology and materials, so I feel really confident.
The Stewarts have too much experience of Formula One to build false hopes. That experience going into their second year will be invaluable. Tyrrell have been out of the mainstream for a generation now. The arrival of British-American racing should provide them with a boost, but the launch didn't go according to plan. Perhaps the next superstar to emerge from Ken Tyrrell's team, Toranosuke Takagi, new to Formula One, a 24-year-old graduate of Formula Nippon in Japan.
So I think that we've got a good power unit. I think we've got a good car. So I think we have the opportunity for a few podium finishes.
And technical director Harvey Postlethwaite thinks there are more innovations to come.
I think there'll be an ongoing process of improvement. I think teams will also spark off each other in terms of seeing what everyone else is up to, what progress they've made, and I think there'll be quite a lot of modification as the year goes on.
The new Ford V10 will provide the power. New signing Ricardo Rosset has been hired despite the availability of Jos Verstappen. Like Tyrrell, Minardi have been making up the numbers in Formula One for far too long. Having made their debut in 1985, they've yet to appear on the podium. They've tried out various drivers for 98, including Esteban Tuero and Tarso Marquez, plus the Dane Tom Christensen. Eventually, Tuero, the Argentine teenager, was selected subject to being granted a super license. In comes Shinji Nakano. He had a rough time at Prost in 97. And it will take a monumental effort for Minardi to break into the upper echelons of Formula One, but in a season of change, nothing can be taken for granted. The old order may be established, but it will be challenged, starting at the Australian Grand Prix on March the 8th, when the best drivers in the world, in the best cars in the world, begin their pursuit of the most prestigious title in sport.
Formel 1 presenterades av Shell Helix.